Hiya, it's Thursday evening, it's about 8:30. I've been working on this Volvo XC90 all day. I started recording a video yesterday, which was a response to a Q&A that I posted last year. Sorry it's taken so long. It went on quite a while, so I'm going to split it over two different videos. This particular video you're watching now, and then the rest of the video I'll upload probably at the weekend, which will then have bits of this car in it as well. I haven't got any clever time lapses to put onto the beginning of this video, so I'm going to include some footage from our holiday. I've got tons and tons and tons of footage, so I'm just going to make a little montage, a time lapse. And so if you're wondering what all this funny footage is, it's from a holiday that me and my wife went on at the beginning of the year. Right, I'll see you back here in the next video, and thanks for watching. Hello, I'm not in my workshop for a change. In fact, I'm at home. I did this last year. I posted a video that was only live for 24 hours. It was a request for questions. Got some good questions. I'm looking at them now. Really sorry that I didn't get a chance to actually make the video or reply to any of the questions. So I'm going to run through it, partly because I didn't do any other recording this week so far. What I did do last week is I did a Golf GTI, which I will include some video of now. That had Gtechniq Crystal Serum Pro and Exo, and wheels off for wheel coating, and I mean I was very pleased with it. Came up looking quite nice. Unfortunately it was one that was actually supplied by Car Wow, and another one that ended up being a static demonstrator in a dealership before going to the customer. So remember, if you're buying a new car, just find out where it's been. If it's been a demonstrator, if it's been a static demonstrator, it's likely to have a lot of marks over it. The other thing I'm testing, which I will unplug and plug in throughout this video to see if you can even notice the difference, and I'll probably put a little tag down in the video somewhere saying onboard mic or road mic, is this. This is the Video Mic Row. My wife commented that the last video the sound was awful. She also commented that I sounded really boring and my squeaky shoes were really annoying her. The upside of all of those negative comments is at least she watches my videos. Thank you. The only stupid thing is I'll show you with my iPhone where the microphone plugs in. It completely obstructs how the screen moves. That was a really stupid design from Olympus. So don't know if I'm going to keep it. Don't even know if it makes any difference. Earlier tests that I did here today didn't actually sound any different from one mic to the other. I'll try it in my unit tomorrow. If it still doesn't sound any different, it's going back to Amazon. This mug, by the way, I've had since I was about 10 or 11 years old, and I'm going to be devastated the day it breaks. It is cool, don't take the piss out of it. Max Delch, what is the best DA polisher for a beginner? I kind of mentioned this in the SQ5 video. Delatio, it's from Polish Bliss, or I think Clean Your Car do an equivalent one. It's a dual action polisher. The head spins freely, so there's very little damage you can do with it, but it's an effective polishing tool if you stick with it. Small amount of polish, and use the right polish and pad combination. I will put a link to it in the comments. Look him, thanks for the question. How much cost to do a full correction detail? My website is all up front with prices. I don't hide anything. I've got 3 tiers. I might need to add a 4th because cars are just getting bigger and bigger. But a full correction on a Range Rover, for instance, with all the Gtechniqs, looking around £1,500. Johnny M, how much do you earn? Mind your own business. Svesen. Hi, I really like the videos, just wondering, would it be possible to remove wet sanding marks with a DAS6? DAS6, that's the same kind of polisher that I just mentioned. Yes, with the right polish and pad combination, and if the paint's not too hard. Anything's possible with any kind of polisher, but it's just the amount of time you have to put into it. So if you're polishing it by hand, eventually you'll be able to do it. You might look like Popeye afterwards, but you'll get there. It might not be a very consistent finish either, so I don't recommend doing it by hand. But for sanding marks, you can try a DAS6. If it's soft paint, it might work. If not, you might need to step up to something a bit stronger, like a rotary or the Flex. I recommend looking at my SQ5 polishing video if you've got more questions on polishing. I'll also do other videos on polishing. I'm going to splice in some scenic footage, I think, in this vlog. Might be old stuff, might be new stuff. I might put the drone up later today because I haven't had a chance to do anything with that. But I realised that just about 5 or 10 minutes of me sounding like this is going to be quite boring. Benson, really enjoy watching your vlogs. Thank you very much. I'm glad someone does. I notice you tend to use diminishing abrasives over non-diminishing. What do you feel are the advantages for you other than longer working times? Keep up the good work. I will, thank you. I don't really know. I've tried using non-diminishing abrasives. I just get on with the diminishing abrasives, so the Menzernas, the Gtechniq. Yeah, it's just personal preference. PS, this is the same person. PS, what paint depth gauge do you use? It's ancient, I doubt you can buy it anymore, but there are very good ones available from Clean Your Car or Polish Bliss. Again, I will link them down below. Chris, Audi TT, and then some numbers. I know it varies car to car, paint type to paint type. What pad polish combo do you use the majority of times for polishing? Keep up the good work. Another one, thank you. Again, go back to the SQ5 video where I spend about 10 minutes explaining that there is no go-to polish really. Usually I'll start off with something like Menzerna 2200 or Gtechniq, the yellow one, I can't remember, it's the medium one. And then you just go up or down from there. Gtechniq H8 and the Menzerna 400, they're not the most abrasive ones, so they're quite good. If it's hard paint, you can kind of normally go from that straight down to a fine refining. If it's soft paint, you might want to use that only for a few areas. But in those two ranges of products, I seem to get on well with those. Of the three main polishes of each product, so Gtechniq, red, yellow and purple, I know they've got different names but they're stupid, or Menzerna 400, 2200 and 4000 I think it's called. Of those three tiered products, I normally find something that works pretty well. If one of those doesn't work, I've got some Scholl products or some 3M products that you can try, but I generally don't do a whole car with those. Rad Juan. On an average day's work, how many hours rest do you sleep during the night? Not many, not enough. That's why I've got these bags. I usually go to bed around midnight to 1 o'clock and I'm up about 6 o'clock to get up to Cambridge. And I've started going up to Cambridge from Southend every day a lot more regularly rather than staying up there. B. Stallard, 2 questions, you eager beaver. Do you always inspect your clients' vehicles before approaching pricing? Not usually, although now I'm based at AutoStore, a lot more people bring them in for me to look at beforehand. When I was primarily doing mobile work, for me to drive all the way to London to quote for the car was not feasible. So that's why I came up with kind of a tiered pricing, small, medium, large, and then the different levels of correction. And that seemed to work pretty well. Some jobs you lose on, some jobs not win, but they go according to plan. I'm going to take the microphone out now. Let's see if you notice the difference. They really should have put the mic input on the other side of the camera to the screen. It just, even if it sounds better, I don't know if I'm going to carry on using it just because it's annoying. I'm never going to be able to use my nice swivel screen again. Alright, let me know if this sounds better or worse. Gary, hey, was wondering, is it safe to put ceramic coating on PPF? Yes, it is safe. It's not always necessary because the PPF is doing a lot of the protective work to the paint. So usually if we're putting PPF on the front end of a car, I will then just put EXO on the PPF and then crystal serum and EXO on the parts of the car that don't have PPF, if that makes sense. Hassan, how do you correct paintwork around door handles and the door handles themselves? Usually just, if it's a very sharply kind of angled door handle, you can tape up around it or tape the door handle itself. There's blue tape that again I'll link down below. 3M blue tape, it's very easy to use, doesn't leave all its sticky residue behind. Then to use a small pad and just be patient. Samuel, a few questions. Okay, let's do these one by one. It would be great if you make a video like beginner's tutorial. Being honest, I'm not interested in teaching everyone else how to detail. There's a brilliant website called Detailing World where I learned a lot of tips when I was learning how to detail myself. Highly recommend you register to Detailing World, and there's lots of helpful people on there that can help you. I would like to do a video of like a safe wash guide, so I will do that. What is your favourite brand for equipment and soaps? Menzerna, Gtechniq, the new Gtechniq stuff's quite good, but nothing amazing. It's just good, which is at the end of the day what you want a chemical to be, so I guess it does its job. When and how did you decide you wanted to be a detailer? I've always liked cleaning my own cars. My first car was a Honda CRX. I had that completely resprayed. When the finish from the body shop wasn't quite what I was expecting, I then spent the weekend polishing it. Didn't use a machine, but obviously even at that early stage I kind of knew that I wanted paint to look really glossy and deep and shiny. So it kind of started from there, then always did friends and family's cars, but the time that I decided when I would do it as a business is when I saw Paul Dalton, Miracle Detail, on Fifth Gear I think it was, and he was cleaning a Maserati, but it was fantastic PR, it kind of detailing in the UK exploded, and I rode that wave. I was very lucky with some of the customers that I picked up along the way. And obviously you have to make sure that every single job you do is your best possible job, because as soon as you start getting bad feedback or bad recommendations, then you quickly go downhill and no one wants to use you. James, what is your preferred topper for Crystal Serum Light and why? EXO V3 is so easy to apply. It's probably my favourite one at the moment. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Unikid, I think it is. Hey, what is a 2, 3 or multi-step paint correction? Can you explain in detail about it? I can. But first let me plug the mic back in and see if you notice any difference again. Okay, we're back on the Rode mic, and the very slightest difference, I've turned it up 1 notch to see if that makes any difference whatsoever. Probably won't. In this environment it's a lot less echoey than my ecky wool. Need to make this video short as well. 10 minutes, that's my limit. If I suddenly cut off at 10 minutes, I'll do more another day. Yes, so multi-step paint correction. Basically a single stage paint correction is where I'll use a soft pad and a light cutting polish a small section of paint once, and as good as that comes up, then I'll move on to the next section of paint. It's designed as a clean up for the paint, it's not designed to get every single mark out, and you have to use soft combinations so that it doesn't then leave its own polishing lines behind. But obviously that soft combination doesn't get out every single mark. A multi-stage polish, when you know you're going for full correction, you would start with a much harder polish that you know is going to leave a haze behind, but then you would do another stage of polishing after that. And also the hard stage of polishing that you do, you might need to do 2 or 3 times to get the mark out. So you'll be working on one section of paint and hitting it maybe 3 or 4 times until you then move over to the next section of paint. So that's a multi-stage paint correction.
You